Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about money. There's been a lot written about money over the years. You've got more money, more problems from the notorious B.I.G. Obviously, you have the saying, money makes the world go around. All of these sayings and writings about money show that money is a very important part of our society. And today we're going to be taking a look at money from an economics perspective. We're going to take a look at what money is, who supplies the money in the United States, and we're going to be looking at the time value of money. Now, let's go ahead and define money. Money, ladies and gentlemen, is anything that serves three functions. The three functions of money are this. Number one, a medium of exchange. So when we're saying money is anything that can be used as a medium of exchange, that means money can be exchanged for goods and services. Then you have a store of value. A store of value means that we can hold on to our money and the money will maintain its value. And then the third function of money is you have a unit of account standard of value, meaning that you can compare the value of something based on the amount of money that's worth. So something that's worth $100 is going to be more valuable than something that is worth $1. So anything that has these three, that serves these three functions, a medium of exchange, a store of value, and a unit of account, can be classified as money. Now, money works best when it meets these criteria. When it's portable, gigantic boulders as money probably wouldn't work all that well. Durable, money has to be fairly durable because it has to be able to pass from person to person. So maybe little pieces of grass might be out there. Divisible is important. Acceptable is very, very important. And then stable. You don't want your dollar today to be worthless tomorrow. All right, now let's take a look at money and what backs it up. So, what backs the dollar and makes it valuable? Is it gold? Are we still on the gold standard? The answer is no. Okay, the dollar is legal tender because the government says it's money and people willingly accept it. So the dollar is backed by faith. The United States started getting off the gold standard starting in the Great Depression. So right now, the United States is on what is called the inconvertible fiat standard, meaning that the dollar is backed by faith. It's backed by the fact that it's legal tender, and the government, not only does the government say you have to accept it, but people do accept it. Now, the biggest problem with this inconvertible fiat standard is particularly conservative economists worry that it can lead to inflation. If the dollar is not backed by anything, then you can technically create a lot of dollars, which could create some quite a bit of demand pull inflation, theoretically. Now, who supplies the money in the U.S.? The answer is the Federal Reserve. So in the United States, the Federal Reserve System is the sole issuer of the currency. This means that the Fed has monopoly control over the money supply. Only the Fed can increase or decrease the money supply in the United States. Now, there are two important measures of the money supply that exist today, M1 and M2. And we're going to take a look at each of these individually. So let's start off with M1. So money in M1 is going to serve primarily as a medium of exchange. It includes things like currency and coin. These are, of course, legal tender. And you can see on the money right there, meaning that it's legal tender and must be accepted for all debts, public and private. Okay, so currency and coin is included in M1. Then you also have demand deposits. These are the same thing as checkable deposits, which are basically is the same thing as money in checking accounts. Lots of you guys probably have checking accounts since you're high school seniors. So if you add up all of the currency and coin and money in checking accounts in the United States, you have what's called M1. Now, M2 is another measure of the money supply. It's a little bit broader than M1. So M2 will serve oftentimes as a store of value, and it includes things like everything in M1 is going to be included in M2 because, like I said, M2 is broader than M1. So not only does it include everything in M1, but it's also going to include time deposits like certificates of deposit, which are basically something an investor can invest in, where they can buy the certificate of deposit and then get interest back over a period of time. Money market mutual funds are also a good example of things that would be in M2. Now, these time deposits, these money market mutual funds, they are what are called near monies. Okay, they are things that are not money, but they can pretty easily be converted, to money. Okay, savings deposits would also be included in M2 here. Now, there is one more definition of money that you might see on the AP test, and that is M3. Okay, so M3 is going to be equal to everything in M2 plus large time deposits. Okay, so the time deposits in M2 are going to be smaller. M3 is going to include everything in M2 plus larger time deposits. So let's compare and contrast M1 and M2 here. So as we go from M1 to M2, the measure becomes larger. M2 is a broader measure of the money supply than M1, and it becomes less liquid, meaning when something is liquid, that means it is easily convertible to cash. So as you go from M1 to M2, money becomes less liquid. It is less easily convertible to cash. As you go from M2 to M1, the measure becomes smaller, but the money is going to become more liquid. It's more easy to convert to cash. For example, in M1 is actual cash. So obviously that is as liquid as you can possibly get. So I might ask you something, for example, is a house a liquid asset? Is it really easy to convert to cash? And most of you would probably say, no, it's not really a very liquid asset because it takes months to sell a house and then to get the cash for it. So if something is easily convertible to cash, it is considered a liquid. That's an important thing to understand regarding money. Now, let's go ahead and take a look here at our next topic, which is the time value of money. So is $1 today worth more than $1 tomorrow? The answer is yes. Why is that the case? It is the case because of opportunity cost, meaning that you could use that dollar now if you had it, and inflation. Okay, money is going to lose its value over time. So you'd rather have the money now. And these are the reasons for charging and paying interest. Banks and other lenders would rather have the cash now because of opportunity cost and inflation, but they're willing to lend it out in return for interest. All right, so next thing I want to take a look at is we're going to look at the time value of money equations, and we're going to take a look at some various scenarios regarding the time value of money. But that will be on our next video, so I will see you then.